All right, ready to start?
What's the address on the thing? Because it's frontage.
Okay, we're at that 5 o'clock hour. I would like to call this September 13th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting to order. I would ask you to turn off your cell phones or any other devices so not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. I would like to welcome Commissioner Todd. He's here from the Howard County Planning Commission. Commissioner Todd, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
The first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes from August 9th.
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. Director Sheeline.
Before we get into the agenda, Mr. President, we do have one continuance tonight and one item that needs to be deleted from the agenda. The first item is item number 4, case P11A22. It's the petition of Trip Engineering Consulting. This is development plan approval on the Market Street, many warehouses. The petitioner has asked for a variant or a continuance for this case, so we'll continue it till next month's meeting. And if you look down the agenda on item number 6, case P13A22, the petition of Trip Engineering and Consulting requesting development plan approval for Abbey Place 2. We're not really sure how this got on the agenda. We don't do development plan approvals for this type of development. It'll be handled in the next case, which is the plat for Abbey Place 2. So all those questions will be answered in the next case. So one continuance on item 4, and we're going to delete item number 6. So with all that being said, the first case we're going to hear tonight is case P16Z22, petition of Castle Company LLC, requesting the Kokomo City Planning Commission petition to recommend to Kokomo Common Council for a change in zone classification from C1 to R4. This is at 1512 East Hopper Street.
Move for approval. Second.
Is there someone here to represent this case? Please step forward.
Hello, my name is Danny Butcher, 329 North Main Street, Kokomo, Indiana, 46901. Do you care if I drop this off? Copy this.
Thank you.
So we are wanting to rezone 1512 East Hopper Street from C1 to R4, and what's coming around is a picture of that property. When we first acquired the property, it's a historic house. We wanted to save it, and we thought it'd be great use for small commercial, small business office space. Well, we were incorrect. It's been mostly vacant most of the time, but we are getting a lot of phone calls for residential, people wanting to rent anything from a studio up to a 4-bedroom house. This is already a 4-bedroom house, so we believe the best way to put this in motion is to put it back in its original use, which is residential. On the last page, the house to the neighboring house to the west is zone R4. The houses to the north of it are also zone R4. We just feel it's a great fit all around.
Do we have any questions from the board before we have staff report? Director Sheeline.
Staff report for case P16Z22, Fortune Companies, Inc. on behalf of Castle Company LLC is requesting a change in zone classification for addresses listed above. Address parcel will be utilized as a single-family home. According to the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, R4 is compatible with all adjoining properties except for C1 zone. Although C1 is not an appropriate adjoining district, there are parcels that surround the area that are currently zoned as C1, which is small to medium scale general commercial. Adjoining property zonings to the north are R4, urban residential. To the south and east, C1, small to medium scale, medium residential. Small to medium scale residential. And then to the west is R4, urban residential. According to the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, this area of East Hopper Street is located in an area proposed for low-density residential. This is an area designated for single-family housing below a density of 3 units per acre. Typical low-density housing would be single-family detached homes. Under land use goals to encourage orderly and responsible development to promote health, safety, and quality of life of residents in the city of Kokomo while maintaining Kokomo as a leading community for affordable housing. Under relevant land use objectives are to encourage adequate land for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. Designate specific districts in the community suitable for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. The goal of the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Transportation Map is to enhance connections throughout the city for improved safety, function, and efficiency for all modes of transportation, including vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian networks. According to the transportation map, this area of East Hopper Street is defined as a major collector. This is a street designed to facilitate the collection of traffic from local streets. Also provides circulation with the neighborhood areas and convenient ways to reach arterial streets. The traffic count for this area of East Hopper Street is 6,026 cars per day. The staff desires that the board put forward their own recommendation to Kokomo Common Council based on the information presented by the petitioner. I might add that any time that we can take a commercial property back to a residential property, I'm certainly in favor of that, so.
Any questions from the board? Now, we've had the staff report. Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P16Z22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved. Now we'll go to the city council and will be presented there by Councilman Griecu.
The next case tonight, Mr. President, is case P09P22, petition of Heath Ryder requested approval of the primary plat for Waterford Acres. This is 800 South St. Joseph Drive and west of Columbus Boulevard.
Move for approval. Second.
Is there someone here to represent this case?
Good afternoon. I'm Heath Ryder from Trilogy Health Services. My address is 451 Winter Pine Drive, Findlay, Ohio. And thank you for having me tonight. I don't really have much to say. My engineer sent me here. He was unable to attend. He didn't give me any notes or anything to respond to. So if you have any questions, fire away.
Can you give us a summary of what you're going to put in here? And
We're putting in villas, 55 and older.
Okay.
Quite similar to our project that's already out there, although there'll be newer, more modern versions. We're going to put a dumpster enclosure in if you approve the project, just for waste management for the additional villas.
How many additional villas do they plan on building
Total or just this phase?
this phase?
I don't have the plan with me
Yeah,
right
that's right.
now, but I believe that we're adding 12 duplexes.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't want to misstate on record.
Any questions from the board?
I'm okay for primary.
Everything from plat, good?
Everything, we're good for primary approval. I mean, they have to come back next month to get final approval.
Engineering approval?
Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the board before I call for a vote? All in favor of case P09P22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. As was stated earlier, case P11A22 is going to be continued until next month. So we'll go down to item number 5, case P12A22, the petition of Kittle Property Group, Inc., requesting development plan approval for Somerset Apartment Improvement. This is 393 West 300 North.
Move for approval. Second.
Please go ahead.
My name is Becky Fye. I'm with Civil Environmental Consultants, 530 East Ohio Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm here representing Kittle Properties. We do have owner representative Mark Hobson for the client this evening. As you well know, Somerset Apartments experienced a couple of fires over the last couple of years. The owner has decided to raise the existing buildings and build back new. And also while doing that, they're going to make some new improvements to the site, including sight lighting, some site landscaping, additional parking, and adding new garage units. This is all to go to the apartment complex is moving to a market value rate complex now, so they're doing these new improvements to be more competitive with the market.
Any questions from the board? All good from plat?
They got everything done, we mentioned at plat. Yep.
Yes.
Any questions from the audience? Then I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P12A22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Congratulations.
We will move on to item number 7. This is case P10, P22, petition of Trip Engineering and Consulting Jim Hickey requested approval of the final plat for Abbey Place. This is section 2. This is north of Abbey Place, section 1, and west of North 300, east-west, North Washington Street.
Move for approval. Second.
Jim Hickey, 5617 Hidden Valley Road, Rocheville, Indiana. Premier Home Development LLC, here for Abbey Place. This is a multi-lot subdivision. You have approved the development plan for the subdivision. This approval is just for the plat, which shows the lots, dedicated streets, easements, etc. We are asking for final approval of the plat.
Any questions from the board? Everything good for plat?
We're all good.
Any questions from the audience? No questions from the board. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P10P22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Director Schumann.
Now, in this case tonight is case P17Z22, the petition of the City of Kokomo requesting the Kokomo City Plan Commission petition recommended the Kokomo Common Council for a change in zone classification from HI, High Intensity Industrial, Heavy Manufacturing within the flood hazard overlay, and 2 park and recreations. This is at 1715 West Markland Avenue. TJ, I don't know if you want to take this or you want me to, or it doesn't matter.
So I am the city attorney. My name is TJ Rethlake, and my address is 100 South Union Street at Kokomo, Indiana.
Can I put a motion on for approval?
Can I have a motion, please?
Oh, moved. Second.
Second.
Please go ahead.
Sorry, your attorney should have stopped you first.
He was busy.
So essentially what was slated previously to be the Kokomo Soccer Club, and it started progress quite a while back, was never zoned properly from the WROL to Parks and Rec. And so essentially what we want to do is clean up the zoning of that property so that we can continue development there. And that's what we're requesting today.
You have staff report on
I
that?
do. Staff report for case P17Z22, City of Kokomo is requesting to change the zone classification for the address listed above. This address parcel will be utilized as a soccer complex. According to the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, park and recreation is compatible with all adjoining properties. Portions of this property is located within both the flood hazard overlay as well as the well-restricted overlay. Refer to attachments for detailed information. Adjoining property uses and zonings are to the north, IS institutional, to the R1, very low-density residential, and LI, low-intensity industrial business park. To the south, R1, very low-density residential, LI, low-intensity industrial business park, and HI, high-intensity industrial heavy manufacturing. To the east, LI, low-intensity industrial business park, and HI, high-intensity industrial heavy manufacturing. And to the west, R1, very low-density residential, and HI, high-intensity residential heavy manufacturing. According to the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, this area of West Markland Avenue is located in an area proposed for low-density residential. This is an area designated for single-family housing. below a density of 3 units per acre. Typical low-density housing would be single-family detached homes. Land use goals to encourage orderly and responsible development to promote health, safety, and quality of life of residents in the city of Kokomo while maintaining Kokomo as a leading community for affordable housing. Relevant land use objectives are to encourage adequate land for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. Designate specific districts in the community suitable for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. The goal of the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Transportation Map is to enhance connections throughout the city for improved safety functions and efficiency for all modes of transportation, including vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian networks. According to the transportation map, this area of West Markland Avenue is defined as a minor arterial. This is a street that collects and distributes traffic to and from collectors and primary arterial streets. The traffic count for this area of West Markland is 3,665 cars. Based on the information presented by the petitioner, the staff desires that the board forward a favorable recommendation to the Kokomo Common Council.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience?
My name's Doreen Schieffo. I live at 1041 South Lead Street. Is what you're talking about now affect my property?
No.
No?
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
then I'll wait.
Quick answer, right?
This is what she would have gotten the letter about. then.
Yes, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
She's an adjoining property owner, yes, but
Yes.
it will not affect your property per se as far as taxes or anything, if that's what you're asking.
Are we going to discuss about changing the zoning?
That's what we're doing right now.
Yep.
That's what this is right now, yes.
I would like to know why you would not change our houses to residential instead of the Parks Department.
So,
We're not
just to
sure-
be clear, this is just one particular parcel, and because your house is close, then you get an automatic notice, but that doesn't include your parcel. Right now, the only area we're doing is vacant land, we're rezoning as vacant land.
Okay, because I got letters that you're rezoning my
No,
property.
No.
1041, you're not
No.
changing, because I'm right now classified as industrial manufacturing. And my letter states you want to change it to the Parks Department.
No, you were notified
adjoining
because
land?
your property is an adjoining property owner. That's why by state statute, we have to send you that letter. The only parcel that we're rezoning to Park and Recreation is the parcel that is directly across from the wastewater treatment facility. We're not changing the use. That was designated
Okay,
the,
so I have nothing to worry about. I heard rumors you were going to change it to the Parks Department and then basically force us to sell our properties to you.
no, ma'am.
That's not true.
Has there
That
been any
is
discussion
absolutely-
on that at all?
That is absolutely not true.
So I'm not in fear of losing my home and
No.
having to move.
Number one, ma'am, we could not rezone your property without your permission in the first place.
But that's why I was here to see. you know, at least
Absolutely.
what- I figured you could do anything you wanted. I could
No.
give my opinion.
No, ma'am.
You know?
We have a lot of state statutes that we have to follow, so no, we cannot, no.
So I am safe where I'm at. I don't have to run out and try to buy something
No, ma'am.
else.
Not at all.
No, ma'am, not at all.
All right, that's all I needed to
All
know.
right.
then. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Have a good evening.
Had me scared.
But, sorry you got scared for nothing.
And
Oh, I was panicking. Where am I gonna go? I was there for 40 years.
Just-
Thank you.
just noting as well that the staff report states located in an area proposed for low-density residential, but the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan, the future land use map, does show that this was designated as a project within the comprehensive plan for
Correct.
rezoning to Parks and Rec.
That's correct, yes.
Where's the located?
Any other questions from the audience?
No.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P17Z22, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. It now goes to the Common Council and will be presented there by Councilman Griefu, Directorship.
Next case tonight, Mr. President, is case P11, P22. The petition of Jamil Murphy requesting approval of the primary and final plat for Cotswold Hills Commercial Minor This is at the southwest corner of 400 South State Road 26 and 200 West Dixon Road.
Move for approval. Second.
Jim Hickey, 5617 Hidden Valley Road, Rushville, Indiana. This is a two-lot minor commercial subdivision. The property is zoned C2, and this plating does not change the zoning. There were no comments in the technical review meeting. Development plans will come later, which will show the access drives, building placements, drainage plans, and more. We are asking for approval of the preliminary and final plat, since this is a minor subdivision and includes no new infrastructure. Primarily, the final approval can take place in one meeting.
Explain to everybody that this is just the subdivision.
We will when they come up to the mic.
Okay, any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience?
John Kelly, 4160 Lake Windermere Lane, Kokomo, Indiana. I realize that this is only the first hearing regarding this. This is only first hearing regarding this parcel. I understand that the next hearing would be for the development plan, which would indicate what specifically would be done on each lot when those plans are known. However, since this hearing is to plat the lot into two separate lots, I would like to understand how each lot would be accessed, especially since there are two separate parcels. For example, are they going to be on the main roads, or is one lot only going to be accessible via the other lot? Hate to see the builder get into a situation where one of the lots they can't do anything with, so that's why the reason for the question.
I don't know, I don't think that they've come to that conclusion yet as to how it's going to be accessed, because there again, that's a site plan question, and if there's problems there, we can certainly deal with that then.
Okay.
Unless someone here that is with the project knows more than I do, last I heard, that decision's not been made yet.
Okay.
Jim, do you have an answer for that one?
That's what I understand too.
What was that?
That it just hasn't been.
Decided.
Okay. Certainly hasn't been communicated. I'm sure there's ideas there. There's a statement on the drawing that stated the foregoing covenants or restrictions are to run with the land and shall be binding in all parties. What covenants is this referring to, or is this only referring to the statements under the heading restrictions on that drawing?
I have no idea about that.
It would
Again,
only refer to the statements on that drawing.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this isn't the place for the question either, but we have a Cotswold Hills sign and trees at the front of the parcel near the corner of 26 and Dixon, as originally installed by the subdivision's developer, or that whole parcel's developer. We know what will happen with that sign or that area?
Not till we get to the development
Okay.
plan stage of it.
The last question I had was, in the case description on your minutes for the meeting, it says, in quotes, part of the northwest corner. So what, if any, of that corner is not included?
Part of the northwest quarter?
Corner. It's a corner lot, between 26 and Dixon. But the wording on the case number just said part of the corner. I'm wondering, is there parts of that corner that aren't included in this?
The only thing we can see on our.
Well,
plan
this says northwest quarter, not corner. Which is it's a public lands, usage, word usage there.
Okay, yeah, it does say quarter, sorry.
So, yeah, the half-mile square, it's part of that quarter, which is a half-mile square.
Okay, so it's the whole corner is part of that quarter.
It's everything that's probably not developed
Okay.
there.
All right, those are my questions.
Okay, thank you.
The drawing also shows that there is a sign and landscaping easement in that corner.
Okay.
Maybe that would be indicative of where the future sign's gonna go.
Pardon me?
Well, my guess is they put it around the existing sign to
Right.
retain it.
Right.
So,
Any other questions from the audience?
I guess Jonathan had a question. What was meant by everything can be done in one meeting? This is just to do the plat,
This is
right?
just the
Correct.
It's not gonna be it's nothing to do with what's going on. That'll be another.
No,
hearing.
anything they
There'll be
build there
another
have to
public
come to
hearing
another public
for
hearing
the
for that.
development plan approval. That's absolutely correct. Yes.
Any other questions from the audience? Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P11P22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Director Sheila.
Okay, next case tonight is case P12Z22, petition of Trip Engineering Consulting, John Ladd requesting Kokomo City Plan Commission petition and recommended the Kokomo Common Council for change in zone classification from office commercial to M2 general multifamily residential. This is for property at 2331 West Lincoln Road. If you all remember correctly, this was before us a couple of months ago, and it went to city council. We sent a favorable recommendation. It wasn't a unanimous vote. I believe it was like 2 if I remember correctly. To the city council. City council on first reading moved it forward to second reading. On second reading, the city council voted the project down 9-0. The petitioner went back to the city council. State statute, correct me if I'm wrong here, TJ, but state statute remands it back to the Plan Commission. So we have to hear this case again tonight. And you will either move it forward with a favorable or unfavorable recommendation like you would any other zoning case. So, does that make sense to everybody? If not, maybe TJ can say it better than I do.
Sure. Just as part of the statute, after it goes through city council, if it gets a favorable recommendation and then is turned down by city council, then it comes back to us to make a determination one way or the other. So from there, we can either make, if it's an unfavorable recommendation, having it being remanded from city council, then that stops it moving forward. Otherwise, if we give a favorable recommendation for a second time, then it goes to council to either approve or disapprove. And again, if they vote it down, then that stops it there, or if they approve it, it moves forward.
Councilman Grieco, would you explain to, especially this board, what happened in the second meeting so everyone could be up to speed of?
Sure.
where was that?
At the first meeting, it was the general consensus that we didn't have enough information about the project to really make a good decision. But we agreed to push it forward, understanding that there was an expectation at the next meeting we would receive more information about the project. And there seemed to have been a communication issue on the petitioner side, and they were not present at the second meeting, nor was any additional information offered between the meetings or at the meeting. So with no further information being offered, the council voted it down.
Very good. Did I get a motion? When we started this?
Yeah, we'll need a motion.
We'll move for approval on this.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions before we go to staff report? Director Sheila.
I'm sorry,
They can't hear us.
we're doing the staff report right now, and then the president will give anyone in the audience a chance to be heard. Okay?
Would
All right.
you all like to move forward before Mr. Sheeline does staff report?
I've got a big mouth, but not everybody up here has one as big as mine, so. All right, staff report for case P12Z22. Tory Tripp of Tripp Engineering and Consulting on behalf of John Ladd is requesting a change in zone classification for parcels listed above. This address parcel will be utilized as townhomes. According to the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, M2 is compatible with all the following zoning districts. Although R1 is not an appropriate adjacent district for the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, there are parcels that surround the area to be rezoned that are zoned as R1. The adjoining property uses are to the north, institutional, to the south, M2 multifamily residential, R1 very low density residential, and MI low density multifamily residential. To the east, R1 very low density residential, and to the west, OC office commercial. According to the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, This area of West Lincoln Road is located in an area proposed for low-density residential. This is an area designated for single-family housing below a density of 3 units per acre. Typical low-density housing would be single-family detached homes. Under land use goals, encourage orderly and responsible development to promote health, safety, and quality of life for residents in the city of Kokomo while maintaining Kokomo as a leading community for affordable housing. Relevant land use objectives are to encourage adequate land for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. Designate specific districts in the community suitable for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. The goal of the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Transportation Map is to enhance connections throughout the city for improved safety, functions, and efficiency for all modes of transportation, including vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian networks. According to the transportation map, this area of West Lincoln Road is defined as a minor arterial. This is a street that collects and distributes traffic to and from collectors and primary arterial streets. Traffic count for this area of West Lincoln Road is 11,406 cars. The requested zoning change is compatible to the following zoning districts. Therefore, the staff desires that the board forward a favorable recommendation to the Kokomo Common Council based on the information presented by the petitioner.
I did not overlook asking for somebody to represent this case. I wanted everybody to hear the history and everything that was going on, since this is a little different than normal. So for someone to represent this case, please step forward.
Tori Tripp, Tripp Engineering Consulting, 401 South 2nd Street, Converse. Tonight, we passed out a potential layout and of what the site would look like, and then also what the duplexes would look like. When we were here the last time, we let you know that parcel 2, which is the adjacent parcel, is also being purchased, and the access for this property would be through parcel 2. So the site layout that you're looking at, the owner is not sure for sure what they want to do with parcel 2. So we looked at a couple different site layouts based on what their use would be. And the layout that we presented tonight for parcel 3 gives us the most units on that parcel. But that is all dependent if he decided that in the future, parcel 2, he wanted to rezone and do more duplexes. If he goes a different route, we would actually have less units than what you're seeing. So the site layout that you're looking at would be the most units that we could fit.
Where's the streets at? This is Dixon.
Correct.
So in this
No,
new
that's
layout, you've got
actually
the
a,
access
north
coming in
arrow
off
wrong.
Dixon Road.
That's Lincoln Road.
There's a road that goes right beside
apartment complex.
Dr. Ladd's office, and then it swings over to Dixon.
Correct.
So our plan is
No,
to come through
Dixon's down
parcel
over
2
here.
and connect into that road.
Okay.
So, but that's through a
Parking lot
private access road, it's an easement.
Right, correct. We would get an easement through, and we would have an easement through parcel 2 also.
Okay, so all of this would be private road in this development that would be maintained by the owners of the properties at that
I
point?
believe so, yes.
'Cause it wouldn't be attached to any city streets, so it wouldn't get snow plowing or trash removal or any city support in those areas because it's a private road.
Gonna tie into
That is my
whatever
understanding.
that office is.
that
They're
your
gonna
understanding
use
too?
that.
That's what, yes, that would be,
Okay.
that's how it would end up happening, yes.
Yeah, they're gonna add a new.
And how many units?
No, it's
The
not
layout that
attached
you're
to city
looking at would be,
street.
is 7 buildings. So that's the
They're
max that we
tying
could
into that.
get, so it's 2 units per building, so 14.
You know roughly how many acres that parcel is?
It's 2.08. The survey was redone for a second time, and so the survey that I got, which I sent to Mr. Sheeline yesterday, that was just recorded, was 2.08.
Well, it shows up on here, but I can't. I couldn't get my glasses
Yeah.
to magnify it that much.
The two parcels together are 2.08?
No, just parcel 3, the one we're talking about tonight. What I'm trying to say is the layout that you're looking at right now is the most units that we can fit on there. But that's only, whatever he decides to do with parcel 2 will affect the layout that we end up doing for parcel 3. But we know we can't get more than 7 buildings on. So anything else that he would do would actually reduce the number of buildings. I mean, we looked
Depending on
at
how you
it,
look at it, it's worst case scenario or
Yes.
best case scenario.
Right.
Depending on how you look at it.
yes.
Yes. I think we are, yeah. Are we, we're rezoning both, are we rezoning both?
No, we're only rezoning parcel
Parcel
3.
one.
Parcel 3.
Three, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Which is the larger of the two parcels.
right.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're only doing this, one. We're not doing that.
This is what we're doing.
Because the existing building is parcel 1. This is parcel 2, this is parcel 3.
That's one, this is two.
Is there any
This is like the doctor's
consideration
office.
to have an entrance off of
Okay,
Lincoln
thank
Road instead of on an easement?
That's not an option because of the legal drain. There's a legal drain in front of the parcel along Lincoln. And
It's an
To
option.
be fair, it's an option, it's just
It's
cost
just-
prohibitive.
it's cost prohibitive for them to do. I talked to the county about it, and the county said that they'd be willing to give access, but he would have to enclose the entire ditch.
The entire ditch?
Well, from where it
For the drive,
ends.
right?
Well, it stops at the drive for the subdivision and then goes all the way to where it turns and crosses Lincoln. So it was like, something like 300 or 400 feet, and it's a fairly large pipe from what I remember. I think it was like a 30 or something.
Probably bigger than that.
And they'd have to replace it after they filled it in, right? To relocate the legal drain?
Well, the county wanted it enclosed in a pipe in order to give us access across
Across.
the legal drain.
Over it.
Over
Yeah,
it.
yep.
Yes.
But I didn't know I thought it was like a pipe culvert for a driveway.
No.
They're wanting the whole thing.
They want the
filled.
whole section.
I can see why it's cost prohibitive.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes more sense now. I couldn't figure out how that was gonna be that.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions from the board?
So is there any other ingress egress other than through the doctor's office and dental office?
Well, we're actually going to go through parcel 2 is where we would take the
But
road
that
through.
ties into the loop around
It
the
ties
doctor's
into the
office right
doctor's
now.
offices to the west.
Right.
basically. They already have it, they have an IVCA over there already, I suspect,
Yep.
right?
I believe so.
So it'll remain part of that easement. the
Mm-hmm.
drive.
And that goes straight out to Dixon.
It
Yes, Dixon
connects
and-
to
Or
Dixon
Lincoln, I
and
think. It
Lincoln.
goes
Yeah.
both.
And Lincoln, yeah.
There's
so-
two entries and it makes a loop kind of around the doctor's office.
Yeah, but you won't be able to go out on Lincoln.
Yes,
Sure,
you
Sure
would.
you can,
Yeah.
yeah, the drive's
You
already
go through
there.
the parking lot.
This
You go
drive
through-
comes here
Yeah.
and makes a loop to Dixon.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is
So if you-
an entry point right here. So you could come here and turn right and go to Lincoln, or you could go more or less straight and go to Dixon.
Any other questions from the board?
I do. The developer has the same property on Apperson Way, correct?
On Apperson, the one that,
North?
yes,
Started and I'm just wondering, I know that they're not related, I'm concerned about making it a priority to get all of these done. There isn't much progress on that, I'm concerned about developing more when we're not making much progress on that one. Be done by 2023. We have always had it by then.
The way our. Hold it. If you want to speak, folks, you got to come to the microphone. Let me answer.
Excuse me.
Microphone.
Anyone wants to speak, you need to come to the microphone so we have it on the record. That's all we ask.
I was just going to say that our permit says, once our permit is given, you have to start within 1 year and you have 2 years to finish the project. That's what our permit says. So, and their permit was issued, I believe, April, May timeframe, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong there, but, so they're within their timeframe. So just so everybody knows, they do have 1 year to start, which they have, and they have 2 years to finish. Now, if they haven't finished the project within 2 years, one of the options would be that we could make them come back and go through the entire site plan approval process again if we so desire to do that. But that's down the road.
Any other
Yeah,
questions
they
for the
have
board?
2 years from April, May.
Questions from the audience?
My name is Cindy Bennell. My address is 2208 Executive Drive. I live directly behind the area that you are considering on passing. We have not seen any kind of design as to what we can expect to be built behind us. Our lot line is like 10 feet from the fence. So I'm very concerned about what type of structure is going to be behind my house, who's going to be looking into my windows. I don't want to have to curtain off everything so I can't see out. That's one reason why I bought it, was because it was a beautiful place to live and to look out. So is there any way that we can get a look-see at what they are planning on doing? I'd love to see them.
There you go. I don't know what happened to the first page, is it right there?
Here, does somebody else want to see it? I have more too. I have more here. Yeah, right here. It's like
Hey, folks, keep in mind, I understand everybody's concerns. Keep in mind, tonight, what they're looking at is rezoning the property. A lot of these other questions will be answered when site plan approval comes forward, which would be another public hearing. So tonight, all this board is looking at is the rezoning of the property. I understand your concerns about but those questions will be answered in another public meeting, just so everyone understands that.
I'm John Beachy with Marzine. And just to address the,
Can I have the address, please?
huh?
I need a name and an address.
John Beachy, Mar Design, 711 West Boulevard, Kokomo.
Thank you.
The houses on North Apperson that are being built, he has 3. Those are infill projects. So he is in the process of building them. It's just taking a little time. But we work with Kokomo on doing infill projects. Kokomo can't seem to get the infill projects going, so Jamil's doing 3 of them. So just to let you know.
I just, when inquiring, they were supposed to be rehabilitated by January 2023 was the information I was given. And that's just a deadline approaching rather quickly.
Okay, yeah, you probably haven't done by then.
Right,
But
well, okay,
they're infill.
okay,
It's improving the community. He's put his money up to do that.
okay.
As I said, Kokomo's, I'm working with them on their
I just
infill
look
end of
forward
it.
to ask questions.
We're not getting much done with them.
Okay, now that I have seen the plans, my concern is trying to cram as many people in 2 acres as you possibly can. The way they have this designed, and that's my phone, there's a street down the middle, condos on both sides. There's not a lot of land there, which means there's going to be homes right up against the fence. It's a similar type neighborhood that we have. We're condos. We're 55 and older for the most part. We have some space between each one, and it's a beautiful community. And it's been like that for a long time. Even the opposite side of the street has houses behind them. But there's at least 60 to 80 feet between the condos and the houses with the fence in the middle. You're not going to have that on this type of a structure. I was, in my mind, trying to envision what they were going to have. One street with 1 row of houses with condos would be wonderful. It fits in that area. But to try to put 2 sides with a road down the middle seems to me like just a little overkill for the area.
Hang on a second. Keep in mind, what you saw is only a design concept, And that's not what we're here to look at. That is the best case, or in your perspective, the worst
Worst case
case
scenario, yes.
scenario. That may not be feasible. All those questions are gonna get brought up at the development plan. We're only here to look at zoning the property, whether or not this can move forward, and they can take a better look at it.
Are
So
we
what-
allowed then to come to that meeting?
Absolutely.
And-
You'll get another letter just like you did for this time. This time alone, we are only looking at zoning the property to
Accommodate them.
Multifamily.
multifamily.
And by all
So-
appearances, it would appear that their setback from their rear line is about as equal as you are from your rear property line.
Which
Correct.
I'm not very far.
So
Yep.
what you saw is just a design concept. That is not set in stone. That's not what's going in tomorrow. They have to go
That's
through
fine.
all
I
the
did not
development and
realize
the
the
engineering and
process.
all that.
That's okay.
So
Yep.
that's why, that gives me a little hope that
In
I
the
can come
end, it
back
may
and say,
be
okay,
just one road
what
with
is it
3
gonna be?
duplexes back there.
Okay, I'm
We
not
don't know.
opposed to that being developed. I mean, I want to say that, but I just want it to kind of be in community
Absolutely.
with what's already there.
Understand.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Please come forward.
Sandra Fisher, 2709 Executive Court, Kokomo, Indiana. When you consider rezoning, doesn't that allow for a lot of other types of businesses or buildings to be built on that property?
Not multifamily, ma'am. Multifamily can only be residential. It could not be any kind of a commercial component
Only residential?
in multifamily.
But how can you change what's already there? Because that is businesses that's there. They're doctor's offices.
That's why we're looking at rezoning
That's
this.
why we're looking at rezoning.
They have a
They've parceled.
purchaser to buy the land that wants to change it and put affordable housing or duplexes or whatever he would like to put there, or she.
So
like
it
to
would
put
only
there.
be for multifamily, not
Correct.
multi-businesses.
Correct.
Correct.
It's multifamily. So if the deal doesn't go through and they want to leave it as office or business or whatever it is now, or change it to something else, then they would go through the same process again to rezone it.
Okay,
And right now, it is zoned office commercial.
Right.
Yes.
They could put offices, multiple
so
office
they
buildings
could-
there
well,
now.
that would make sense. There's enough room for a couple buildings for that, which is like what's already there. But we were concerned with putting several buildings up. There's not that much land. Now, is that what the city council will consider, how much land there is to be built on?
I would assume they'd consider everything with this new information. They could consider anything that was presented to them.
And it will affect trash pickup and the,
Those would all be private, The city won't, I can tell you, the city won't be maintaining anything in there. That'll all be done by the developer.
okay, okay, I understand that. But do you realize that that gutter along there is the entire length from Berkeley to Dixon that they're talking about?
Gutter.
Well, it's not a gutter, it's
Oh, the
the
ditch.
The ditch.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
was thinking roads.
ditch. It's a ditch, and it's a
Sorry.
big ditch.
From the concept they showed us tonight, they're not planning to touch that at all.
Right.
Per what Tori said earlier, it's too cost prohibitive to even consider that.
Okay,
So
so
that's
that
gonna
would stay
remain
the
intact.
same.
To my knowledge, based on the design concept,
Mm-hmm.
that'll stay intact. Again, we're just looking at the zoning and we're considering everything that you're bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
from
all-
your perspective, this
we're
is the worst
speculating
case
at this
scenario.
point.
From the
Yeah.
builder's perspective,
Yeah.
this is best case scenario.
But once they get the multi-family zoning, that means they could go up as high as they wanted also?
No, there's
No,
city
there's a
ordinances
height-
that
There's a
prevent
height
that.
limit, ma'am.
There
There's
is a height limit?
Yes.
Okay, because the first time we were here
Looks
and
to me
heard
there's
about
two
it.
stories, is what the
Yeah,
plan
back
is.
then, when it came before us before, it was like 4 stories. And we
Well, that's,
thought,
rumors get started, unfortunately.
yes.
That happens.
Yeah, that's what we heard at the previous
Yeah.
meeting.
So even though it goes to multifamily, there's still design criteria that the designer and builder has to adhere to.
Has to
They can't
follow.
just build a high-rise 20 stories high.
Yeah. So what will be the next step then if you approve the zone tonight?
It would go back to city council,
Back to city council?
correct, TJ?
Yes.
Go back to city council. If city council approves it, then it would be up to the petitioner to come back to the city council and file for development plan approval.
Okay.
When that happens, everyone who got notified about this meeting would be re-notified.
Right again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Will they have 2 readings again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it starts over.
Yeah. Assume so.
Readings, right?
Hello, my name is Maureen Janicki. I live at 2201 Executive Drive. I'm the secretary of the HOA. I have a couple of questions. If this is approved, can a multifamily be revised to subsidized housing?
What?
Can
I'm
it be
sorry?
revised to subsidized housing?
No.
What kind of a zoning would that be?
No, it'd be the same zone.
You could have it in multifamily.
Right. It wouldn't
But-
have to come back here to get, if
but,
they
from
wanted to.
So
what-
they could make it, if they, let's just say they can't sell, they're marketing them as condos right now. Let's say they can't sell them all. Could they market those as subsidized?
I suppose they could.
Probably could.
I don't think that's the intent at all, but I suppose they could.
I would imagine if they're gonna do subsidized, that there's a whole state level of grants and stuff that they would have to go through.
Okay. Who will maintain the exterior of the units? These are condos, correct? Yes. Who will maintain each unit exterior?
I would assume the duplex or condo owner. Just like you maintain your home, they're gonna maintain their half of the
If they're
condo.
planning on selling them, it'd be whoever bought them.
Yep.
And who will maintain the ditch? Because currently it is not being cut. I think they've cut it like one time this summer.
That's county.
County,
It's county ditch.
call your local commissioner.
Again, per the design concept that we got tonight, they're not planning to touch the ditch.
So that's the
but
county's responsibility.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I thought they was looking
Please help the ditch.
Jennifer Newell, 605 Bluegrass Trail. I know we're just talking about zoning tonight, and I just want to let like the homeowners know that the condos being put in, the multifamily, are in the $230,000 range, which would be comparable to the homes that you are living in now. And not your basic person can afford a $230,000 home. It's a high-priced home. I know we're in a different market than we're in right now. And I've also heard a lot from the homeowners about, I don't want to lose my view. But when we buy homes, we don't buy the view or the airspace. Those things are not guaranteed for 40 years. Anything can be developed beside you, behind you, or in front of you. So I just want like the homeowners to keep that in mind. These are not going to be anything ugly to look at. This builder is very structurally, does things very beautifully. So I just want to keep in mind we don't buy airspace.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
This will probably be over by the time I get up there.
Carol, we'll wait on you, buddy.
We got
We'll
pizza
wait on
coming,
you.
don't worry.
My batteries to my hearing aid, I couldn't get them in there, so I didn't hear a lot of this. The one thing that I'm worried,
Carol, I need you to introduce yourself
Oh.
and give me your address before you start, please.
my name is Carol Webster. I'm 75 years old. I live at 2206 Executive Place, and I'm the vice president of our association.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right, bud.
Anyway, the thing that I just found out this morning with this thing, that this is a condominium. We didn't know that to begin with.
but when we got this, I just wonder, we have an association that takes care of all the maintenance and everything in our condo association. And when I bought mine, it's been over 10 years ago when I retired, that's what I was looking for, was something that was going to maintain it and keep it maintained and keep everything nice. I don't know anything about, these. Is there going to be an association to take care of the maintenance? Or are they going to let the homeowners take care of the maintenance? It says it's a condominium duplex, so I'm just concerned about that.
So all we're looking at today is rezoning.
Okay.
So all we're looking at is whether right now it's office commercial, right, for business.
Yes.
We're looking at whether it should be rezoned to M2 or multifamily.
Okay.
But anything else outside of that, even the plans that you have in front of you are not set in stone.
Okay.
They're basically design layouts which come later in front of this commission for approval. So that goes through site plan.
Okay.
So later down the line, assuming that this gets approved and it's rezoned, before we decide that there's 5 or 8 or 200
Okay.
different condos, or what the road's gonna look like, that all comes back before us.
Okay.
For the final decision.
I got you. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alexis Cowan, 1808 Dogwood Drive. I just want to make a reminder that these will be sold individually, so each one will be responsible for their own unit. Just want to make sure that's known.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the audience? Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P12Z22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Barker?
Nay.
I'm sorry?
Nay.
Nay. Ms. Durham?
Aye.
Ms. Stover?
Nay.
Mr. Graves?
Aye.
Ms. Jefferson?
Aye.
Ms. Rule?
Aye.
Mr. Grieco?
Aye.
Mr. Pike?
Aye.
And there's no tie, so you don't have to vote. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be sent along with a favorable recommendation to the Common Council on a 6-2 vote.
Will be represented by Councilman Grieco.
Okay, are we ready to continue?
We are. Oh, I'm lost.
Matriculate.
Okay, next case tonight, Mr. President, is case P18Z22, petition of Kokomo City Plan Commission request and recommend to the Kokomo Common Council to adapt the text of the Kokomo zoning ordinance number 7053. This is, and TJ, again, correct me if I'm wrong, this is our flood ordinance that we have to have for the city of Kokomo. And it has to be looked at and adapted by DNR and by FEMA and also by this board. And they've asked us to look at that again. We already have an ordinance, but they put together a model ordinance, the DNR did, that they sent to us. We looked at it extensively. When I say we, I believe it was TJ, myself, and John, and Don Cree from the engineers department. So we approved it the way it was. We sent it back to DNR. They had a couple of language, a couple of areas in the language that they wanted to change on recreational vehicles and manufactured homes, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
The recreational vehicles, basically, I think our ordinance said you could keep them there for 120 days. I believe their ordinance now says 180. So just minor changes, but it's something that we have to approve to send back to DNR. And that helps us, this ordinance helps us extensively if we,
This goes to city council.
if we ever have another flood in the city. This ordinance tells us, gives us designs and of what we have to go by if we're determining that properties, have to be designated as not livable. So that's what this ordinance is for. So it's important that we upgrade it every few years. So that's what we're doing here.
Sorry.
Hey, folks, excuse me. Hey, folks, please, if you're going to have conversations, please go outside if you would, please. We're still trying to conduct business here. Thank you. Okay. So did that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. TJ, do you have anything to add?
No, nope.
If I had a motion on this, I didn't get it, so I need a
don't think we
motion in a
did.
second.
I move.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of case P18Z22, please signify by saying aye. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, we have any questions from the audience?
Most of them don't know it exists.
Never fails. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of case P18Z22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It now goes to city council.
Okay, next case tonight, Mr. President, it's the TIF plan. This is Plan Commission Order Number, Resolution Number 2022-05. This is a TIF, and as you all know, our goal as the Plan Commission is to determine whether this fits in with the comprehensive plan, which it does. But I didn't know if TJ, if you had any more talking points about this or not.
So, essentially what we're doing here is we've met with the RDC. The RDC previously approved a TIF resolution which creates, if you remember, it was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, we went through, and it goes from RDC to Plan Commission, then to council, then back to RDC for approval. And you have to jump through all those hoops to get to create that TIF area. And so what we're doing is we're modifying the previous industrial park area. We're expanding it to include the FCA engine plant, and we're renaming it as the Project Fusion area based upon the battery plant that was announced. And there are additional infrastructure areas to the west and to the east that are added as separate TIF designation areas. So what we are asking is an order from the Plan Commission to move forward in creating those TIF areas.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Is there any questions from the audience? Is there any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll take a vote for the TIF plan resolution number 2022-05. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is approved. Director Sheila, anything into other business?
I have no other business tonight, Mr. President.
Next on the agenda is approval of claims.
I move to approve the claims in the amount of $33,484.43.
Second.
We have a motion, a second for approval of claims. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The claims are approved. No meeting?
There is no cases for the Howard County Plan Commission, so we do not need a representative for that.
Adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all.
Greg, that was just an hour.